the reason I'm here is not doing this podcast interview is because I literally get probably 10 requests a day for different types of interviews. Some are podcast interviews, some are newspaper interviews or whatever. And there's just literally not enough time in the day for it. But the using this as an example, it's not like I went and researched what you guys are doing and then said, oh, I'm going to do this. It was literally because Jen, in this specific case, like told me to do it and threatened
awesome
to,
Jen over there. You said threatened?
She said threatened to punch me in the face.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Nobody threatened anybody around here.
Yeah, you better do this.
No, so and I'm using that as an example because because I trust her and I'm super glad I did, but out of 10 random emails a day, like there's no way to do the research to know which ones to do or which ones not to do. And so I think most organizations, especially as they get bigger, it's more kind of top-down hierarchy, like the people at the top tell the people underneath what to do, whereas my philosophy is to kind of do the reverse. Like I want what would normally be perceived as people that are told what to do, instead flip it and like I want to be of service or helpful to them,
right?
And so it's up to them to prioritize for me. And so anytime whether it really doesn't matter, let's just call it meetings in general, I'll be like, great, if you get invited by, in this case, Jen, but there's different people at Zappos and different people at Ferguson's, different people at Downtown Project, like just have them ask me versus I think kind of most people's mindset is like, oh, let's go above them. And then it really needs to come from the people that I'm trying to support.
So instead of trying to run the business for whoever you're investing with, give them the platform and the ability to run their own business the way they would run it. That way they can run that business entirely with their own philosophies instead of you trying to make it your own, right?
I mean, that's part of it, but part of it is also like Jen knows, like don't have an infinite amount of time, and so I trust that if Jen says, hey, in this case, you should do this podcast, and she did it as well, and you guys are fun guys, and and then like I don't need to go verify that. I just trust Jen.
Gotcha.
Got it.
So.
That's awesome, man. So one of the last questions that I had is, we've seen a lot of talk online about, Zappos Airlines. Is that ever going to be a thing?
Hopefully. I mean, part of the thing I was talking about, mentioned a little bit earlier, is that on the Zappos side of things, we're going down this path internally that we're referring to as MBD, or market-based dynamics. And so right now we have about 1,500 employees and about 300, we call them circles or teams. And so employees can belong to multiple teams, and traditionally those teams are arranged like hierarchically. And so not that different from like in a normal organization where the people are arranged hierarchically. And so in a normal organization, you get your budget and your headcount from your boss if you're part of a big corporation. So same idea normally, but replace people with circles that get their headcount from the circle above. And what we're trying to do is transition it so that instead of the circles being in a hierarchy, those circles are each their own individual small business or startup, which is literally what happens in a normal world. Like if there's a bakery or small businesses or whatever, they're not in a hierarchy, they're just coexisting. And there's no manager or boss that tells a bakery, that tells the owner of a bakery what to do. Like if they have the customers, then they can do whatever they want. And so we're basically having each of those circles come up with a menu of services that initially they might offer internally, but then the goal is offer them externally as well. So for example, we have a team that or let's just say you want to start up a cupcake bakery and your passion is making cupcakes.
It is.
perfect. But your passion might not be
The business side and everything.
you still need a website, and you still need to figure out how to put ads on Google or Facebook or whatever, and you still need to set up Wi-Fi or whatever, right? So all those things are things that are necessary, but not really your passion. And you might try to do it yourself, which is then taking away time from doing what you're actually passionate about, which is cupcakes. Or you might try to hire someone by Google, or because your uncle's best friend's sister is a lawyer, so you hire her as your legal counsel, but who knows if that's the right legal person.
Right.
And they might make a mistake that 7 years from now turns out was a really big mistake, and you lose your whole company because she was not a good lawyer. But if you had a trusted brand and company that was focused on customer service, which is what Zappos is about, and we have the saying that Zappos is a service company or a customer service company that happens to sell shoes, but replace that with we're a service company that happens to sell blank, which might be legal services, which might be website services, which might be online advertising services. Fill in the blank. If we're already doing it for ourselves, then why not offer that to the world, to every startup, to every small business, so that they don't have to go through what took us 20 years to figure out, and so that they can focus on making the best cupcakes in the world instead of all the other stuff that is necessary but not differentiating.